This is the final sacrifice of Putin, because he is ready to send 400,000 more soldiers into Ukraine, and this is already in addition to hundreds of thousands previously which were sent there, and hundreds of thousands which are already eliminated. And all of this insanity is just to basically delay the inevitable, which according to Putin is the attempt of the West to destroy Russia and make it disappear. But more about all of this in just a couple of minutes. What's up, investors? It's the Russian dude. And let's go straight to the point and see some most recent footage. And as always, we begin with some more cringe material, which today is a little bit more relatable. So, we have this military expert of Russia which I never heard about, Alexander Sladkov, and he's saying that North Korea is ready to send 500,000 soldiers to Russia. Wait a second, pending the approval of China. So imagine this, North Korean soldiers waiting for approval from China to go fight for Russia against Ukraine, but most likely against NATO and other Western countries. I have no idea how he came up with this or how he has any contacts with North Korean military representatives, but this is what he said. But okay, now let's get back to a little bit more serious news. And according to the president of Hungary, Katalin Novak, Russia must withdraw its troops from Ukraine to achieve the common goals and peace. But to be honest, if you remember, Hungary is kinda the friend of Russia, so this is already the second country after Armenia which turns its sides against Putin. And shortly after this statement, Russia declared that now Hungary is among the unfriendly countries to Russia. Alright, next we go to Russia itself, where the Wall Street journalist Ivan Gershkovich was arrested allegedly for spying on Russian military. He was arrested by the FSB and now he's facing up to 20 years in jail, making him the third US citizen being arrested by Russia. Then we go to Belarus, where recently, just like in Russia, McDonald's has suspended its operations, and so recently Belarus opened its new McDonald's equivalent called We Are Open. Just like this, we are open. Let's see our preferences. If you would like to go to We Are Open, can you please like this video? If you prefer the old and classic Russian tasty period, can you please subscribe to my channel? But if you just want to go to the regular based McDonald's, you can do the both. You can like this video and subscribe to my channel. And at the same time, feel free to check out my second channel, The Russian Dude Clips, where I post under 1-minute summaries every single day. The link will be down below. Alright, just a couple more words about the Western support to Ukraine, and then we can talk about the situation in the East and the new development of the Russian soldiers, how to protect their armored vehicles from attack of the Ukrainian drones. And first of all, according to the representatives of Slovakia, their MiG-29 fighter jets are already protecting the sky of Ukraine. Then we have this statement from Germany, which says that besides sending Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine and Marder armored personnel carriers, they also provided some additional support to Ukraine. And this includes a couple of armored evacuation vehicles, 1 mine-clearing vehicle, 24 Z-Tros trucks, and approximately 40,000 first aid kits. And ultimately, we have yet another humanitarian support package to Ukraine from Japan, worth of $470 million, bringing the total support of Japan to Ukraine since the beginning of this year to $1.6 billion. Alright, and now as promised, let's talk about the situation in the east of Ukraine. And first of all, according to Ukrainian sources, they were able to destroy a concentration of Russian forces, along with their armored vehicles in Kolomychiha. Then we have the report by the Institute for the Study of War, which claims that Russians continued their offensive along Kupiansk, Svatve, Kreminna front line, with once again no success at all. And as we go more to the south, according to Ukrainian sources, they were able to destroy several Russian ammunition depot and concentration of Russian forces in Paraskoviivka. As we go to Bakhmut itself, according to the US General Mark Milley, Russians are inflicting on themselves significant losses inside the city, and it is estimated that approximately only 6,000 Wagner soldiers are left in Bakhmut, with approximately 20 to 30,000 of other Russian formations. Just think about it, 6,000 Wagner soldiers left, and at the very peak, when the recruitment has just started, it has been estimated that Wagner had anywhere approximately between 50 to 60,000. And as we go down to Avdiivka, we can see how the situation around this settlement has been changing in the last 24 hours. And as you can see, the major advancement of Russians, if you can call this an advancement, has been happening to the south of this city. And ultimately, right here we have the picture of the most likely Russian soldiers' innovation, how to protect their armored personnel carriers BMP-2, and they just welded this net to the sides of their combat machines. And according to them, this is supposed to protect them from Ukrainian drones. But if we take a look at this video somewhere from Avdiivka of a Ukrainian drone pretty easily approaching Russian military vehicle going inside and exploding, I would say that this net has a very little chances to succeed. Let me know what you think. But unfortunately, yes, in order to comply with the YouTube guidelines, I was not able to show you the entire video, and to make it up for you, I found several more drone footages, also from the east of Ukraine, and you can see the full versions with sounds on my Patreon. There's still 1 week of free access, and you can find the link down below. So, pretty much, yes. At this point, it is relatively clear that Russia is failing. And according to the British sources and intelligence, one of the reasons why it is happening, it is because the security services of Russia and the Russian army, instead of achieving their goals, all they want to do is to please Vladimir Putin. In the normal way to please him, not in the way you might think. Because of this, sometimes crazy decisions can be made, which are not the best decisions in the military-related tactics, but something that Putin might like. And as an obvious result, as you can see, Russia is no longer able to achieve anything, and with the full arrival of the Western military vehicles to Ukraine, the situation for them will get even worse. And so, as of right now, Putin has 2 choices. One is bad, and another is even worse. The first one was to recruit more people and send them to Ukraine, and the second one was to declare pretty much failure and to retreat from Ukraine and declare the defeat. And so, as I was already previously mentioning like around a couple of weeks ago, and now this is confirmed by the British intelligence, Russia is looking to recruit at least 400,000 more people in the near future. But what they will try to kinda do different this time is to, instead of making people voluntarily sign up to the army, which most likely this time it's not gonna happen, and I don't think there were ever too many volunteers to go into Ukraine, but this time they will create some kind of professional contracts. So all these people supposedly going to Ukraine will be professional soldiers getting paid their salaries. And pretty much yes, in order to confirm that something about this is about to happen, some other Russian politicians, such as Dmitry Medvedev, he started making the statements that, don't worry, right now Russia has more than enough soldiers to protect itself. Yes, he said protect itself by fighting in Ukraine, but whatever. He said that we have enough soldiers, but you know, it's never gonna hurt if we can have more. And this time, let's have the combination of volunteers, which is non-volunteers, and the professional soldiers. And then, according to the representative of the Russian government responsible for defense, Andrei Kartapolov, he said that don't worry, all these new recruits, they will not be sent into Ukraine and into these new subjects of Russia. Which, to be honest, if you think about it, every single time Russian authorities making the statement, which starts with don't worry, we are not going to do this or that, you can understand it as worry, we are going to do exactly that. And pretty much yes. Yesterday it already became official as Putin signed an order to recruit 147,000 soldiers into the Russian army, But, as always, this is just for training, don't worry. And just once again, according to the British intelligence, they are also not confident that Russia will be able to recruit 400,000 volunteers. Most likely, they will need to be forcing people to go into the army, just like pretty much every single time what was happening in the past. I am pretty positive that in the near future we're gonna see some news headlines that some regions in Russia, they started summoning people to the military enlistment office just to check their biographical data, just to see if there are any discrepancies. Because so far, this has been one of their favorite options, how to trick Russian men into going into Ukraine. And so yes, how would Putin justify this next one, as he would call it, partial mobilization? Because previous one, pretty much obviously it has failed. And most likely, he will start his narrative that if Russia loses, if Russia collapses, the Russian people will be the ones paying for this defeat. And well, before you even know it, it already started happening, with Putin making pretty much exactly the same statements approximately a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying that in case Russia loses, this threatens the very existence of Russia, because Western countries, they have only one goal, which is to separate Russia into smaller segments and rule over them. The only goal of this narrative is to obviously make Russians feel afraid that they have to now defend their motherland, because otherwise these Americans, Germans and obviously Ukrainians, they will come into their houses, steal their kids, steal their money, steal their food, take their houses and make them live on the streets. And so, this is basically yet another attempt of Putin to unite the people of Russia, mainly obviously the patriots, to defend themselves against Ukrainians. His words can be simply explained as if Russia loses, you will lose. And some other Russian politicians, more radical ones, such as for example Dmitry Medvedev, they started pushing their own narrative, is that in case Russia ceases to exist, they will take the rest of the world with them, which is, yes, you guessed it, yet another empty nuclear threat. And ultimately, even the Russian propagandists themselves, they started being extremely pessimistic during their aggressive TV shows. They started saying things like, we are not sure whether we're gonna win or not, let's see what's gonna happen, let's hope the Russian army can handle it all. As you can see, all we need to wait is for the Western weapons to arrive fully to Ukraine, and then we can expect the Ukrainian counteroffensive, happening most likely already this spring. And if you don't want to miss it, just once again, please consider subscribing to my channel, it only takes one click. And if you want to support my work financially, please consider becoming my channel member with a PayPal link or become my Patreon. There's still 1 week access, and you can find all the other links to the right and down below. Thank you so much for your attention, товарищи, and see you tomorrow.